I mean, I was going to mention it. Obviously, you're a huge Star Wars fan. You touched on it last time we spoke. How has it been working with Mark Hamill, ticking that bucket list? Because also, wow, what a performance from him as Arthur Pym. That voice, that physicality, he's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, he really I mean, he is a legit, proper character actor. I mean, we know that anyway, right? You've only got to see two of his big characters side by side. Like this man has a lot of range, but I don't know how much of it we've actually been able to see on over the years. I hope this is a bit of a resurgence. I think it might be, because every review I read almost always isolates Mark to a certain degree, just to talk about Pym and how intimidating he was and gruff, but also he's got some great comedic beats in there too. He manages to still flex his comedy chops.
Oh, yeah. That bit about CCTV where he's explaining to Rory,
the enhance.
That's not how CCTV.
Yeah, he was amazing. I mean, off camera, I was kind of terrified, actually. My first day was with Mark. I think my first scene in Usher is the Camille death scene, with Leo sort of basically saying, cut me out of the will, I don't care. So that was my first scene. Funnily enough, though, I shot that twice, because I shot that with a different actor, which we won't get into, but you can Google it. We had originally shot this show with a different actor. Didn't work out. He's gone. New guy came in, Bruce Greenwood. He's a fucking hero. But that original scene with the original first actor we did that with, that was my first day. And all day I remember knowing, I was like, fucking hell, I'm going to meet Mark Hamill. And we'd been building up to this because Mike knows how important Star Wars was to my career and me even just being an actor. It's the only reason I'm here. And I think also Usher would be the first time I worked with Mike in a more kind of intimate way, where on Midnight Mass I was still kind of getting to know him and the crew, and I had just come off Bly, so it was a very quick relationship. By the time we were doing doing Usher, Mike was texting me I think we might be getting this actor, I think this might happen, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at this person, which is why I was also, which may come back to if we get a chance, but I was able to suggest my best friend for a role, because I was there from the beginning. So that's never, so I hadn't had that before. But I remember getting the text that Mike was going to Mark's house to talk to him. I was like, oh shit, this is happening. And then Mike sent me some selfies of him and Mark. And then I think he was I think he's in. And then he was updating me. And this is months before production. And he's yep, he's going to do it. And I think he said something I'll make sure that you two have a little scene together, or at least something, so that you work together. And he obviously honored that with that scene. But so it'd been built up to me in my mind for a while. So I meet one of my heroes, it's a big deal. By the time I got to set that day, I was in this almost teenage strop mode where so many people had come up to me on set and been have you seen him yet? I had to almost be oh, fuck off, I'm fine and whatever, innit? I was trying to be cool because so many people had hyped it up to me. I had to go on the defense and be whatever, innit? He's just a good whatever. And then I'm okay, I'm just going to say hello. I'm not going to mention Star Wars. That's unprofessional, I'm just going to be hi Mark, nice to meet you. I'm Rahul, and then get on with the scene and let it be what it is. And I get on set and I've noticed that everyone's in this semicircle. And I'm oh, okay, everyone's gonna watch this. It's like an arranged marriage or something. And I was okay, I go over and I'm Mr. Hamill, and he was sitting down at the desk and he looks up and he goes, oh, there's the Star Wars fan. So it was like he had already taken it away from me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, hey," and then I was like, "Listen, it's an honor to meet you, sir," and whatever, and then he said something like, I think he was like, "You're very funny online, young man," or something like that. So I was like, "Oh, cheers, thanks." And then he goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "London." And he goes, "Which part?" I was like, "I'm from sort of like northwest London." He was like, "I used to live there because the soundstage for Dagobah was in this area." And then he had said the word Dagobah, and I was like, "Oh, it's on." He said Dagobah. He's mentioned Star Wars. We can talk about it, right? So then between takes, we were just chatting away, and he was amazing. And I got this full circle moment where he kind of, I basically never left unless it was just to go for a cigarette. I basically stayed on set with him instead of going to the green room or just going to my trailer. And he said to me, like, "What do your parents do? And are they in the industry?" And I was like, "Nope, they're just working class folk from back home." And he was like, "Oh, so how did you become an actor? What made you want to be an actor?" And then I was like, "Well, I was 12 and I saw the Star Wars trilogy, and I'm not bullshitting. That's exactly what happened. In a weekend, I was like, well, that's what I want to do for a living. I want to be a part of this." And he kind of sat back and was like, he goes something like, he's like, "Well, I'm glad we made something that inspired you to become an actor because I think you're great, or I think you're fantastic," or something like that. And I was like, and yeah, I held it together, and then I called my mum on the way home and told her what he said, and then she started crying, which got me a bit emotional.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, and then we just became mates, and then like we'd have these group scenes, and Mark would like single me out and be like, he'd be like, "Rahul, I just saw you." Well, terrible American accent I'm doing it this morning, but he'd be like, I just saw your tweet," and he would repeat something horrible or disgusting I'd mention, and be like, and talk about how it made him laugh that morning. And I don't know, it was always just gleeful. I was always like super happy that I would get Mark's approval either for a tweet or a joke or something. Anyway, yeah, it was amazing.
Man. Wow. I mean, what a thing knowing how much you love Star Wars and to have that experience. I'm so happy for you, man. And I'm so happy that you got to work with him. And it's a great scene as well, where he just grabs your arm, almost like a Jedi thing. Thank you so much for watching this interview. I'd love it if you would check out some of the other interviews on our channel. They're all fascinating and unique trips to the movies with some wonderful, wonderful guests. And if you would like to find out more, do hit us up on our social channels. We are at Trip to Movies Pod. That's at Trip to Movies Pod on all social media with lovely content on there. And you can get in touch with us if you so wish. Thanks again.